On Wednesday, the 7th of February 2024, the Multi Academy Trust will be transitioning to using Gmail as its email system. This is because it provides a new centralized system for managing our email instead of maintaining lots of separate email systems. It'll work very nicely with our use of Google Workspace, which is very habitual throughout the Multi Academy Trust. And it will also improve our security as we're currently sending messages using both Google technology and Office 365. So it'll make sure that we can securely sign all of our messages. This is something that we've shared with staff in our briefings and as part of our IT roadmap for the Multi Academy Trust. So, this training session is to get you familiar with Gmail and how it works. So, when you first log into Gmail, it will look like this. Now, as a reminder, you will keep your same email address and you will keep all of your email. All of your email will move over to Gmail. This is what it will look like when you start. What I would recommend is setting it up so that it looks a lot easier to use with things like the reading pane and being able to have everything aligned properly. I'll show you what that means now. When you first log in, you'll see this little icon here, and it'll say you can toggle split pane mode. I would recommend you click that because it turns on a reading pane over here that when you click on your email messages, you'll see them appear on in a little panel on the same screen. It just makes it look nicer. You only have to click that once ever and it'll work, but you do need to do it the first time you sign into Gmail to turn on the reading pane so that this appears. And it's quite a familiar layout to Office 365. You've got your email boxes here, your new message button here, and you've got your email here. So it looks very, very similar, and it is very, very similar to use. You can move the reading pane along, make it over there, all the way here. I'd recommend setting it quite close because it just tends to look a bit better and be a bit easier to use. So that's getting started. To send a new email, the button is Compose. So we're just going to click that now. And when you press Compose, a little message will appear for you to begin a new email here in the corner. If you want to make that a bit bigger, there is a button to do full screen. You can also press the Shift button and it'll do the same. But this little expansion button here makes it a lot nicer to use, and you can close that message. So it works exactly the same way as before. If I wanted to send myself an email, I'd put my email address in, hit enter. If you want to carbon copy someone into an email, so again, you can put as many two people in as you want, but carbon copy is so that it's somebody who gets a receipt of the email, gets to see it, but doesn't feel they have to participate in the email. That option's there. And again, you've also got blind carbon copy if you ever needed to copy someone into an email without the rest of the recipients who are sent it to and CC'd knowing about it. Subject is exactly the same. Just put your email subject in and you write your email in the exact same way in this box here. So this is the subject of my email and your email is here. I'm just writing an email to you. Best wishes, Andrew. So this is how you can send an email and use it. Now there's some options at the bottom that are worth knowing. Attaching a file is the paperclip. It's exactly the same. You can attach a file from your computer just in exactly the same way you normally would. But there's also an option you'll see here to insert files using Google Drive. Now, this is very useful as we use Google Drive a lot to send our files. So instead of having to go between your email and Google Drive, you can now access your Google Drive directly in your email. This is one of the main reasons why we're moving email system. So if you click Insert Files using Drive, it'll give you a copy of your Google Drive. And let's imagine I wanted to send this spreadsheet here. Now, I actually have a choice. I can send the attachment as a Drive link or as an attachment, depending on which one I click. If I click Drive link and I click Insert, it'll appear in the email as a link. And when I press Send, it will check if that person should be made a viewer or an editor. So gone are the days of sending a link to a Google Doc in Outlook and it might not be that that person has it shared with them and it causes confusion. It'll actually let you set the permissions right here. You can say, actually, yes, I want them to be an editor, a commenter who can just leave comments on it and see it, or a viewer who can just see it. And then I can press send. That's very useful. It makes everybody's workflow a little bit easier because you're not accidentally sending a document that they might not have shared with them. So you can just press send and they'll get it. Because I'm demonstrating, I'm going to click cancel. As well as that, you'll notice that when you attach a file here, that you have the option to click attachment. If you click attachment, that file will be converted to a standard Microsoft format that can be opened outside of Office 365, like a normal Office suite, so people can read the file that way. So if you're sending files outside the organization, that's useful because people can use any software they want to access it, and that can be really quite handy to have that without having to convert documents. So that's a nice little feature that's there. There's a few others as well. There's also a confidential mode button. You can press confidential. And what this can be done is a little extra feature where recipients can't forward, copy, or print or download the email that's sent to them. So if you send the email to someone internally, they won't be able to forward it, copy it, print it, or download it. That can be used if you're sending a particularly confidential document or email that you don't want somebody to accidentally forward on. Maybe it could be something concerning quite a sensitive data protection issue. You can also set an expiry, and that email will be deleted from that person's inbox after a certain amount of time as well. So that might be things like confidential HR documents that just need to be sent and read once, and that's it, and things like that. You can also set an extra bit of security if you ever needed to, where someone will have to put a phone number in and get a code in order to open the email, which adds a little bit of security. It's not something you'd use in day-to-day use, but it is something which is handy to know about and that exists as well. So this is everything that you need to do. There's obviously the usual stuff, like if you need to put emojis into your messages, if you wanted to do that, and it has all the usual features like spell check. You may also notice when you are writing that occasionally you'll get the option where it'll appear with a little tab icon above. And if you press it, it will fill in what it assumes you're likely to write based on your previous emails, common phrases that you use, and things, which makes typing a lot easier to use. So that is how to send a Gmail. If you've got a Gmail, and I've got two sample emails I've got in Gmail here, if you want to respond to an email, you'll have the reply button. And if more people are in it, you'll have another button that is reply all, which will reply to everyone in the thread. To click reply, just hit reply, and then just type your email here. Now, you also notice there is a yellow warning. Yellow warnings will appear at first a little bit more frequently, but over time as it gets to learn your behavior a bit less and less. The yellow warnings are just to say something you need to be aware of and to be a bit cautious and just to read it. So this says, be cautious about sending sensitive information. This person isn't in your organization. These messages might also be careful. This person has a similar name to someone in your organization, but they're not in your organization, and just to be aware that it's going externally. So if you wanted to reply, you could just write dear Gmail team, and you'll notice that sometimes this option Smart Compose comes on, where it'll give you email suggestions. A bit of AI will help you write your emails. Quite useful if you press OK. Thank you for your email, and you'll see here it's come up with that, so I can just press the tab button. It's finished my sentence. I can just press tab. It's assumed what I'll write. That can be quite a little time saver. Thank you for your email. I appreciate it. All the best, Andrew. And then to send it, you just press the send button. If you do want to use delay send, just press the down button and schedule send. And you can decide a common time to send it, start of tomorrow morning, tomorrow afternoon, first thing Monday morning. Or you can select a date and time. So you might want that to go on Thursday. And if you click the time, you might say, I want that to go at 10 a.m. And then you can press schedule send. So you can do scheduled emails if you wanted an email to be sent at a particular time. Couple of other features which is just worth knowing about. If there's an email that's a job that you want to do and that you think is something you need to follow up on, you can click this add to task button. So if this was someone saying, Andrew, could you get this spreadsheet done for me? I could go add to tasks and it'll create a little task list and a copy of that email that's saved there. So it's easy to get back to. And if I ever need to get back to my task list, I just click on tasks and it will show me, oh, there's that email, which is a task I need to do. I find that really useful when I get lots of requests for different things to flag certain emails as a task. There's another option which is quite useful, which is snooze. So if you get an email and you think, oh, actually, it's not the best time for this, but I'd like to see that email in maybe an hour, if you press snooze, you can say, please snooze that email until tomorrow. And then that email will come at the top of your inbox as if it's new the next day when you've set the time. So you might say, oh, actually, I don't have time for that, but actually, I'd like that tomorrow at 8 o'clock. And then at 8 o'clock tomorrow, it'll appear at the top of your inbox. So that can be useful if you're in a rush and you're thinking, actually, that's important. I'd like to be reminded of that first thing. It can do that. So there's lots of productivity features built into Gmail which are quite useful. But again, if you don't want to use the productivity features, you don't have to. They're just there if they make your life easier. I find some of them quite useful and some not so useful, but it just depends on what I'm trying to do. But the main thing to know is compose begins an email. That button makes it nice and big if you want a nice big box to type it in. And to reply to an email, just hit reply. And you can send emails in Gmail to groups, just like you normally would in Office 365. It works exactly the same way. Okay, so there's an option as well if you like to have folders to categorize your emails. You can create folders for your emails. They're called labels in Gmail, but they work exactly like folders. So I might call this one, for example, emails about orders. So if I wanted to create a folder, or in this case, it's known as a label about orders that I've placed, just to know what I've ordered. If I'm putting in order forms into Matt Finance Teams, I could do that, and I can just drag my emails into those labels. And then when I click on them, they're in those labels, which work exactly like folders. You can color code them, which can be quite handy if you needed to. If you press these three dots, you can press the label color and give each one a custom color, so maybe red. And if you wanted to, you can click add a custom color and pick any color that you want. So you can color your labels, keep everything nice and organized. That's quite useful. If you want emails to appear in particular folders or labels, as they're called in Gmail, you can set up rules. So, for example, you can click on settings, see all settings, and you'll notice an option that says filters and blocked addresses. You can click that. You can block spammy external senders as well. There is an option here where you can block them, but I'll just show you how to set up a simple filter. If you click create a new filter, I might say that any email from Paul Jones, I want to go to a particular label. So I know that message is filed separately. I can put other conditions in as well. It might be that with a certain subject, emails that includes certain words. So, for example, a good one I have is from anyone. So, email, I'll just leave that blank, and I might put includes the word duty rota, and then I'd have a label for any emails that have the word duty rota in them that are highlighted separate, so I know to look at them. But for this one, I'm just going to set it up for Paul, and I say, right, any emails from Paul, I'm going to create a filter. I would like it to apply the label, and I can click apply the new label, Paul. And I might just say, right, I want anything from Paul to go into the email label Paul. And then I press create. And you'll see it's created a new filter there called Paul. And if Paul emails me now, it'll go to there. And again, if I want to, I can put a nice little color on that so that they all look separate and I can easily tell them apart, which can be quite useful. So that's just a basic overview of how to use some of the more basic and advanced features. There's also a chat mode as well. And the chat mode allows me to send direct messages to people. So you have your normal email, but if you want an instant message conversation, that is built into Gmail. So you can start a new chat. You can pick a person who you might contact frequently. So I might pick myself there, click start chat, and then I've got a chat here with that person. So with Andrew, so I go, hi. Um, and then they can respond and I can have a conversation in an instant message. This can be useful for frequent contacts who you want to talk to without having to start lots of email threads. So you just want to drop them a quick instant message. That can be quite handy with Teams. If you wanted to, you can also create what's known as a space, which is like a WhatsApp group, but that exists in here. So you can go new chat, create a space, and set it up. Now, this will only be available for staff. Students don't get access to this or the instant messaging side, but you might call this one, I don't know, IT team, and I could create that. And once I've created the space called IT team, I can click up here, manage members, and I can search and press add and add other people to that. Click them and then press add to the team. And then I can create like a little down here, you'll see under chat called Spaces IT team. And this would be like a little WhatsApp group on my computer where I can just chat to those people if I need to. So that can be useful to help team operations. The chat feature is quite useful. So this was just an introductory video. There are far more powerful features in Gmail, far more advanced things that you can get into. But this shows you how to use the basic sending and receiving tools, and also a few of the advanced features that I hope you found useful. Thank you for your time, and thank you for watching the video.